You're done.
How to organize your library.
In 2 minutes.
As soon as I find out, I'll let you know. You're never really done with your library. You're always collecting more stuff, and almost by definition, I guess, you're always going to have more stuff raw than you will edited. So how do you manage all that? I do a lot of ambient stuff. So after RX, Isotope RX came out, I found out real quick that I'm tired of looking at waveforms as a way of evaluating my recordings. The spectrograph is much better. It's much easier to tell what something is, based on like, oh, that thing up in the high frequency is probably a bird. Oh, that's probably a car. Oh, that's an airplane. I'm going to ignore that whole thing. So you can very quickly draw regions around, and now you can do RX docs, which are meta documents. So you can do as many versions of something, non-destructively, but in a 2-track editor. It's kind of a rinse and repeat process, almost like writing a book or something, where you have really raw stuff. You go through and make notes, which are now persistent because you have this great software available to take all these notes. And then over time, after I've lived with the sounds for a while, it's clear that certain things are what I'm most interested in. And I try to draw little boxes around these. There's a time element, so it's more like a vine than a photograph. I like to keep it kind of balanced. Like, say it's just something simple as sitting at the bus stop and there's cars going by. Like, the car goes to the left to right, the car goes right to left. So say maybe 3 go in one direction. Now, like, my sense of balance wants one to go in the other direction. So where do you draw that box around this moment in time you've captured? And I like to get them kind of nice. I don't like to atomically edit everything into teeny little events unless I'm actually implementing it in a game. And when I name it, I try to have at least the date I did it on every recording, and I try to keep that date for as many renames as I have until it's finally ready to delete it, to like maybe ship it in a library or something. But I do the date in kind of year, month, day, so that it will alphanumerically sort in your computer window in a way that's readable. And I've learned the hard way to do noun adjective, so it's explosion awesome, not awesome explosion, because then when you go to sort it, you get awesome. You can't find anything. And that's my first long-winded pass.
Introduction. My name's Bo. I just moved here on Sunday or Saturday from Seattle. Very cool game audio kind of system that's going on here. Very cool culture. Talking about organization, I immediately think of folder hierarchies, which is very important, I think. And really, there's no right way. You could go to Ben Burtt and say, "Hey, how do you sort your library?" And it doesn't matter, because no matter how he does it, he knows from personal experience what his sounds are, where they are, and all that stuff. So really, it's just about what's the best way for you to be organized and know where all of your sounds live, but retain that organization through a folder hierarchy. So what I do is I do effects, and then I have and also don't just use underscores probably, because you just want to maintain, because you're going to have this library for the next however many years, decades perhaps. All lowercase, underscore perhaps, and ensure that they are all currently waved. That is what's in and hip right now. No AIF. If you have AIF, a very cool way to do it is just drag all the AIFs you have, or maybe your whole library, into SoundMiner, and then you can do the mirror feature, which you can specify exactly how you want to re-export all this into WAV, which is like the way audio is currently. The way I have it is effects, and then I have effects from myself, and that means me, even if I'm with a friend, just myself. I went out on this trip and recorded. And then I have effects from friends. So, I've worked with a lot of people, so I have, then I have their names. Effects from, I have, what else? But all right, so within effects from myself, there's no good way to do this. This is the way I do it that works with me. So the way I do it in effects from myself, and this is all my stuff, I have, 1660, which is just my apartment, and all the stuff within my apartment. that I recorded in that space, and I'll know what that means. So if I'm looking for this elevator hit, this metallic, hard hit, I'll know, oh, I did this in 1660 in Atlanta in my apartment. I remember kicking that elevator, So, I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, it's just organization is just whatever fits you, however, the best way you feel. I mean, and obviously, like, you don't want to have like folders and then like, 01 underscore blah, 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 a bunch of garbage WAV files within that. You want to be organized, because when you go into your sound effects folder, you want to feel like, yeah, all right, like this feels nice. Like, it's not a clustered hellhole of stuff.
I find that a lot of problems come because no one can do this all at once. So you might have some downtime, you do it for a few days, and then you have to drop everything. So you go back and this makeshift organizational scheme you came up with no longer makes sense to you, and you only got 2% of the way through. So I try to make it easier for myself to put the thing down and pick it back up again. And one thing I have is I'll make localized quote-unquote trash folders, where if I'm like, that's, I don't want to throw it away exactly, but I just want to set this aside. So I'll just throw it in a thing I call trash, I call it trash, but it isn't the actual computer trash. And so then you just want to have a way of the cream rising to the top, you know what I mean? And over time that will continue to happen without you getting lost as much.
I mean, you could talk about metadata for like 2 hours. You could talk about SoundMiner for 2 hours. So yeah, it can get pretty deep with. I mean, all you need to know is like, if you have an editor or yourself, if you're editing, the whole point is just to search, So, and you want to ensure that you yourself know, because no one's going to know 1660. I know that's where my hard-hitting metallic elevator hits are. No one's going to know that. So that's why meta tagging, metadata work is important to say, have tags like metal, metallic, hit, low end, thump, blah, 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 for another editor that's not you, that doesn't know this stuff, to understand. And
you have to balance all those autobiographical things that help you remember it with working on a team, or maybe even selling the stuff to the general public, which is the hardest tagging of all.